Just as we spoke yesterday about putting away all deception, all dishonesty, all lying, and ridding that from our lives, we also want to let go of all corrupt words that we should speak. No vulgarities, nothing foul. We should only speak to edify, such that the grace of Elohim lifts others higher through our words. Love our neighbor, love our fellow man as we love ourselves. And so we should proactively stay vigilant and cognizant of the language we use, the words that we use, such that we speak no corruption, that our speech is positive, is uplifting. And of course, if we put away all dishonesty, if we put away all deception, if we put away all lies, then our speech will be true because we'll be speaking from the heart. Oh, just finished that workout. And so I'm right now, I could just pour my heart out to you. I could speak from a vulnerable place. I could speak from an open place. I could speak from a place filled with credibility and integrity. I could speak from the depths of my soul. I've extinguished all negative energy, extinguished and expunged all negative thought. I've pushed out all wayward frequencies. And I'm open, I'm completely open. And again, just pondering the message, pondering the words, ruminating on the way, the truth, and the life. Meditating on the phrases, the parables of the good news of the kingdom of Yah. And the way it makes me feel, the way that it opens up layers upon layers upon layers of understanding when you spend the time to get into that flow state and truly focus in and concentrate on it. Because it is completely at a whole nother level from just reading something and then moving on to the next word, the next phrase, the next verse, the next paragraph, the next chapter. There's nothing like just picking, when you read the good news and you nourish your spirit with that good news, and you do it in a manner where you're seeking, not reading, but seeking epiphanies and revelations, you're going to find things that immediately hit you, verses that switch your soul on, and there's a deeper understanding there. And then you take that. I take that. This isn't something you have to do, but this is what I do to nourish the soul, nourish the heart, and build my connection stronger with Hamashiach. Is focusing in on those verses and those parables and those words and those phrases and or the life, the story of Yahushua Hamashiach. Instances from his life. And in there, I go deep, because when I'm in that flow state, in that zone from the workout, I'm not listening to music. I'm not listening to podcasts. I'm not distracted by the hype that's going on in the gym around me. I'm inside. I've gone internal, and I'm making that connection, and I'm pondering, getting into the zone. And those words, those phrases have such meaning. They have such levels of depth, and they get peeled back. The layers and layers and layers get peeled back. And then you see how they connect with so many other things. And then you're grateful for the revelations. You feel the epiphanies. You hear and see and know the connection. And so we want to speak from that truth. We want to speak from the heart, which is made strong with the truth of Yahushua HaMashiach, so that our words are no longer corrupt. They're no longer foul. They're no longer filled with vulgarity. But instead, as Paul says in Ephesians, our words should seek to edify, such that the grace of Elohim, such that it brings about the grace of Elohim, such that it honors the grace of Elohim and lifts others higher. The supreme Elohim, Yahuwah, he who brings into existence, he who creates, he who breathes life into you and I and all creation. And so, when your words are devoid, words are so powerful. It is, after all, the word that is written on our heart, his word. And just think about that, the power of the word. The power of the word to create, the power of the word to edify, the power of the word to lift up, to strengthen, to fortify, but also the power of the word to tear down, to deconstruct, to defile, to debase, to destroy. And so, in removing dishonesty and deception, deceit and lies from our life, and in speaking no corrupt words, only speaking to edify, and making this a practice, we can see the empty words in others. For also, as Paul says, be on guard, be vigilant, be ever watchful for the empty words of others. And in removing deception, deceit, dishonesty, and lies from your life, and in speaking no corrupt words, in speaking to edify, in speaking the language of positivity, in speaking in a manner that builds and lifts people higher and helps your fellow man, infuses them with love and healing and positive energy. In doing so, it's easy to recognize the empty words of those that would seek to deceive you. It's much more difficult for us to be misled, for us to be corrupted, for us to be deceived, for us to be diverted, for us to be distracted. If we've removed deceit and dishonesty and lies from our own lives, and if in our own speech, in our own words, we have removed corruption from our language and worked to speak nothing foul, nothing vulgar, nothing negative, then it is so easy and apparent the words that are spoken to us such that they would be deceitful, deceptive, and empty. You know, I was listening to an interview with a young man who's a scholar of history. The books that this young man has read and studied, and the insights he has drawn from history, very powerful, very insightful, very intelligent. But he said something which struck me, which was, he says that Christianity today reminds him of the religions of ancient Rome. As Rome was unwinding, as Rome was slowly descending into chaos, as the Roman Empire was crumbling, the people, they no longer were convicted in their religion, in all of the regulations and traditions of their deities, and that they only went to those places of worship out of politeness out of adhering to their cultural norms, out of obligation. And he was comparing that to modern day Christianity. And he was saying that he's a Christian, but that he looks at those churches today and the Christian religion today, and at those like him who appear to be disaffected with the religion, with Christianity. He says he's a Christian, but that he doesn't attend church. And he says that, and I'm paraphrasing here, and so I'm riffing off of what he said, but essentially it's like, don't be so surprised that people are disaffected with Christianity. And that, again, like the fall of the Roman Empire and the way they treated, the citizens of Rome treated their religions of the time, how today many Christians call themselves Christians but don't really believe. They attend church out of politeness and obligation and cultural norms. I don't necessarily disagree with that. That's absolutely what's happening. A lot of people call themselves Christians, but are they really Christians? They attend church. Do they really believe in Yahuwah? Do they really have Yahusha in their heart, in their soul? Is the law written on them such that they're guided by the Ruach HaKodesh? Do they really feel that? Or are they just walking through church, walking through their religion, the way they walk through life in this illusion? Like zombies, like the Walking Dead. Because, and this is my answer to this young man. If you're looking for your salvation in church, if you're looking for your salvation in a religion, that's what he said. He said that, if you want to make, if you want your religion, speaking of Christianity, to resonate deeper with the people, such that the people no longer either don't attend or that they attend in a way where they truly believe, or that they attend with a robustness of self, with a dynamism, with a true conviction, then he said, structure your religion in a more compelling manner. Design your religion in a more compelling manner. Imagine that. Imagine that. Completely restructure and redesign your religion. Well, you can only do that if your religion is based on, if the majority of your religion is built around the rules, regulations, and tradition of men. And that is the problem with religion. That is the problem with these churches. If you wonder why people don't really believe and that use the church as some kind of escape clause such that their souls are saved, the only reason they go to church is so that they can put on the facade of being holy, wear the artifice of a believer. But do they really believe in their heart? Such that, as this young man said, redesign your religion, restructure your religion so that it's more compelling. That's the issue in the first place. The issue in the first place is that if you're looking for your salvation, your forgiveness, and your redemption, if you're looking for your peace and your solace and your joy in Yahushua HaMashiach, if you're looking for your redemption in the rituals and the ceremonies and the practices of men, then you're lost. You're not found. Because of course you're going to become disaffected with the rules, regulations, and tradition of man, with the rituals, ceremonies, and practices of man, because they're only built to keep you yoked to those who create the traditions. The truth of Christianity, the truth of the Christ, the truth of Yahushua HaMashiach has nothing to do with the rules, regulations, and traditions of man. It has nothing to do with these organized groups that look to inculcate you in their blueprint, in their instructions, in their guides, and in their directions. The truth of Hamashiach lives in the Word, His Word, which is free to all, which does not take you having to join some group, having to follow some particular color by numbers directions, such that you're going to paint a beautiful painting. No, you're just drawing in a coloring book. You're just attending and saying the words. You're participating in the group festivities. Yeah, okay, that's great for community, but again, if you just listen to what this young man's saying, who clearly is disaffected with the religion, disaffected with the church and the churches, disaffected with the different Christian sects. If you just hear what this kid is saying, essentially, is that these rules, regulations, and traditions are the source of the corruption, are the source of the disaffection. It is the source of the dissatisfaction. And that's because this young man and a large percentage of the flock of these churches are mistaking the Word, the way, the truth, and the life. They're mistaking Hamashiach for these rituals, ceremonies, and practices of man. They're mistaking the salvation, the redemption, and the forgiveness that Yahusha brings for the absolution that these priests and these holy men and these religious wise men bestow upon those that attend their ceremonies. They're mistaking the healing love, the healing energy, and the light of this world, Yahusha HaMashiach. They're mistaking that light which fills your heart and soul and writes the word and the law on your heart so that it lives forever. With the dead, perishing rituals that have been layered on top of the word, that these religious orders have put together such that you have something to follow that they've created, parallel to the word, layered on top of the word, surrounding the word, everything but the word, so that you're yoked to them, so that you're subservient to them, so that you're subordinated to them and their ceremonies and their practices and their traditions, all man-made. And so of course you're going to be disaffected, because no one likes to be yoked by other men. No one likes to be subservient to other men. No one likes to be subordinated to an order that seeks to drain away your power, the power given to you by Yahusha himself, transferred over to them so that they can rule your life, so that they can direct your life, so that they can guide your life in their way, in their manner, in their fashion. Of course you're going to be disaffected in that. Of course, ultimately, your belief in that is going to crumble. Of course, ultimately, you're going to become bored with that. You're not going to find that compelling, because you'll see the emptiness of it. Eventually, like this young man, you will find the emptiness of it. And it will leave you wanting, just as everything else in this life leaves you wanting more, wanting answers, wanting fulfillment, satisfaction, such that you, for the first time in your life, can ever feel grateful and thankful for what you have, because you actually end up realizing in Yahusha that you have so much and that your cup runneth over, such that you have to shout from the rooftops. You have to give this away, because it's too much for anyone to handle. It's too much imagine having too much peace, too much solace, too much joy, so much that you have to do something with it to spread the good news. You have to broadcast as loud as you can, like I'm doing right now in this park, the word of Hamashiach, because you can't hold it inside. You have to release it, because when his light shines within you, it bursts forth in an infinite number of rays, such that others who are lost might hear and find their way to Yahusha HaMashiach, not to the religious orders, not to the holy men. For their rules, regulations, and traditions are dead. You don't need any of that. There is nothing more compelling than Yahusha HaMashiach and the Word, the way, the truth, and the life. And you don't need them. You don't need these cults, these groups, these religions, these churches. You don't need any of it, because all they do is they create their own rituals, create their own ceremonies, create their own practices, as I've said, in order to gain power over you, so that you look up to them. They call themselves Father. There's only one Father, only one Abba. There's only one Elohim, the Supreme Elohim. Yahuwah, he who creates, he who breathes life. He who creates and brings into existence. And yet, they would stand over you, such that you would be a supplicant. And so, of course, it is the human nature to rebel against other men. But in Yahusha HaMashiach, you find love, you find salvation, you find redemption. None of these men can give you that. None of their religion, none of their traditions, none of their rituals, none of their ceremonies, none of their practices, none of their empty words can give you that. And you don't need them to find that, because Yahusha lives within you. Anyone who tells you that they're the gateway to the Father is a demon. Anyone who tells you that they hold the key to the mysteries of the Most High is Luciferian. Anyone who tells you that they are the ones that will guide you and direct you into the kingdom of Yah are false prophets, possessed by Hashatan, meant to deceive you with corruption, with deception. But you can see it. You can see it when you extinguish all dishonesty, deceit, and lies from your life. And when you proactively work to ensure that your language, both your internal language and the words that you use with others, are devoid of corruption, vulgarity, and foulness, and instead are full of edification, motivation, inspiration, words that build people up, that lift them higher, such that they too can find the way. It's easy to see. It's easy to see the foulness, the rotting, the decrepit, the perishing, stone-like hearts of those that would seek to corral you and to mislead you into their cult, into their so-called church, into their particular sect. Because you have this filter now that Hamashiach gives you, that he fills you with. He fills you with truth. He fills you with the way. He fills you with the life. He lives within you, and so you don't need any of that to find him, because he lives within you. You sit. His words, his life. You don't have. If all you read are his words that he said and follow his life, then you understand, you're there, and you take the time to ruminate, contemplate, meditate, and ponder on his life, his words, his utterances, his parables, his teachings. If you can read, you could pick up the good news, you could pick up the gospel and read for yourself and spend time in thought, in prayer on these words and ruminate. Now, I'm not saying you can't find some good teachers out there. Absolutely. So let me not disparage the fact that there are good teachers out there. I'm not one of them. I'm just a follower of Yahusha, speaking from my heart. But there are good teachers out there that really understand the word, the way, the truth, and the life, that are true to Yahusha HaMashiach, and that can help you understand some of the deeper meanings. If you seek that out, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. But when I hear a young man, a student of history, who's read so many books and is clearly very intelligent, very insightful, and who claims to be a Christian, saying why he is disaffected with the religion, why he is disaffected with the churches, why he's disaffected with these Christian sects. And what I hear in him is what you see in so many, that they simply follow out of cultural norms, out of societal mores, out of obligation and politeness, or out of the facade of hoping to be seen as holy, because they're seeking the esteem and they're seeking their redemption in other men, such that if they follow these rituals and these ceremonies that have been created by man, and they go to church, they can walk out and simply be looked at as being saved and fool themselves into thinking they're saved. Only Yahusha HaMashiach can save you. Only surrendering to him, only belief, only faith in Yahusha HaMashiach and his word is what saves you. Nothing else. Through faith alone, you are saved. Through belief alone, you are redeemed. He says it is... Again, man complicates it for their own evil ends, but Yahusha makes it simple. Love Yahuwah, love the Most High with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and then love your neighbors, you love yourself. And there it is, because if you love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, you're going to follow his commandments. Not the rules, regulations, traditions of man, but Yahuwah's commandments. And if you love your fellow man as you love yourself, and you ask, well, how are you loving yourself so that you love your fellow man correctly? Well, how are you loving yourself? Well, if you're honoring the creation of Yahuwah, you, created in Yah's image, if you're honoring and respecting that creation by nourishing your body, by nourishing your mind, and by nourishing your soul with wholesome, productive, edifying knowledge, thoughts, and the good news and the gospel, and you're treating the temple that he gave us to house the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, correctly, then you're loving yourself and nourishing yourself properly so that you can nourish your fellow man properly and love your fellow man properly and live as an example for your people. And there it is. You don't need any religion to give you any of that. You don't need any cult. You don't need any wise man or holy man or guru or magi. You don't need any illusionist. You don't need any of these Pharisees, Sadducees, or scribes. You don't need any of them. Again, as I said, that's not to say if there's a good teacher out there that is simply preaching on the word and not layering in their own traditions, their own practices, ceremonies, and rituals on top of that. If we're just, how simple could it be? The word is available to all. Again, no teacher, no father, no priest, no holy man, no wise man, no guru holds the key. The only way to the Father is through the Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, and his words are written for all of us to see such that we could follow them and we could take the time to ruminate and contemplate and meditate on them so that we could know him. And so forget about having to redesign your ceremonies, your rituals, and traditions to make them more compelling. Yeah, that'll build your church. Yeah, that'll build your so-called religion. But what is that building up in Hamashiach? That's only building up your own power. The answer is not out there. To find Hamashiach, you have to go inward. You have to go inward because he lives in our heart. And all we've got to do is knock on the door and he answers. Ask and you receive. Seek and you find internally. Contemplate the word. Ruminate on the word. Meditate on the word. Go inward. And you will make that connection with Hamashiach. You will have that connection. The minute you ask him to come into your life and the moment you surrender to him and then you make it a daily practice to have that connection, to have those moments, that time of prayer, meditation, contemplation with the word, with Hamashiach, you establish that connection, you tap into that signal, and you receive the revelations and the epiphanies. You pray on how grateful you are for all that he has given you such that your cup runneth over. And he will give you all that you need and more. All the love that you need, all the healing that you need, all of the answers that you need and more. It's right in here. His word is written on our heart. Look no further. Go inside, search your heart, ask for him to fill it. Ask for him to fill you with his healing love and his healing light. And you will be there. You will be on the path. You will know the way, the truth, and the life. So let us pick up that flag. Let us pick up that banner and let us wave it so that all can see. As we march with his truth, when you are filled with Ruach HaKodesh, when the Holy Spirit lives within you, you now know what you need to do. You don't need anyone to tell you because the Ruach HaKodesh lives within you. He lives within you and he guides you. He directs you. He shows you the way because you lead with your heart. You lead with your soul. You lead with your spirit, which is guided, the inner man, now guided by the Ruach HaKodesh. You will know the way. He will show you. And so let us unite in that ideal. Let us come together in the word. Let us march as one in the way, the truth, and the life. And let us declare for the world to know, to see, and to hear that he is coming. He is coming once again. And we will enter the kingdom of Yah because we are now on the path. And as you shout to the world, because your cup runneth over and you cannot keep this inside, and because you have so much, you have to share it. You want to share it. You long to share it, such that others can join us as we march relentlessly and ceaselessly, unstoppable, unconquerable, undefeatable, unassailable, as we move and groove to kingdom come.